Hi everybody, Miss Meg here. Welcome to the November cooking demo. And on the menu today we have Cajun sweet potato chowder. Now chowders are one of my favorite kinds of soup. They're rich and depth and definitely full of flavor. And there's so many types, but the reason I chose this particular chowder is because a lot of sweet potato recipes you can always find year round, but these have the flavors of autumn, and it's definitely a rich, delicious soup that you definitely you can have on a wonderful, cold, rainy day. And so right now in this pot, if you want to get on this pot right here, I have the lid closed because sweet potatoes compared to regular white russet potatoes usually tend to take a little bit longer to get softened because they're much harder in texture when they are raw and fresh. So I'm gonna let this go and then briefly explain what's in this pot right now. For the base of majority of soups, you have to have onions and garlic. So it's a diced onion, about 3 cloves of garlic smashed, sauteing in there because you want to get the aromatics and the deep flavor in there too. So we got that going along with now Cajun. The word Cajun means a little bit of spices, and you can either buy the pre-mixed stuff or it's a combination of these various spices. Obviously, the main ingredients of the spice into any seasoning mix, salt and pepper. You gotta have salt and pepper whenever you're dealing with a seasoning mix. So, those two. Next up, garlic powder, garlic salt.
Won't find any vampires around here.
Absolutely not. This is dried thyme. Thyme that gives it that herbal flavor, that essence, and that umami flavor that sometimes can really enhance a dish. Umami is kind of like the fifth taste, like the fifth sense there. First of all, Cajun, you always think of heat. So for the heat, you got cayenne pepper. I personally do not like a lot of heat. I don't really like too many spicy foods. But if you are a spicy kind of person, you add as much as to taste. Next, oregano, found in most Italian seasonings. And again, same with thyme, that earthy flavor that you definitely will enhance a dish. And last but not, got one more. Ground white pepper. It has the same sort of zip as black pepper, but again, white in color. And of course, my personal favorite, smoked paprika. And I put this on everything. So I'm so glad this is an ingredient in this soup. I'll make it an ingredient in every dish I cook if I really, really want to. So, and here's how it looks so far. Look at this. Now, potatoes still need a little bit more time, and while I mix this up and get that deep flavor enriched, and then for the broth, you can use any type of broth. You can use seafood broth, shrimp broth, chicken broth, turkey broth, vegetable broth, even beef broth. So the broth that I used for this recipe was the Wegmans Organic Free Range Turkey Broth. I always have either that or chicken broth in my house, so whenever I'm doing a soup, they're my go-to. So I'm going to reduce it to simmer right now and let this go for a few more minutes. And it's about 2 pounds of cut up sweet potatoes in there. I got 4 big sweet potatoes, and I diced them, dice them. And good tip, sweet potatoes, unlike white russet potatoes, don't oxidize when you leave them at room temperature. So if you leave them out like for a good period of time, they will not brown. But to store them, especially if you're going to store them for at least a few days, definitely put it in a container with some water in it. Or put it in ice right away if you plan on storing it. I only stored mine for a day. So freezer bags, a Ziploc bag for a day definitely does the trick. Or bowl of water, put them in, cover it in plastic wrap, you're good to go. So definitely a good fact you know there about sweet potatoes. And I just want to also mention here too, there is no cream in this recipe. So this is a soup that's still rich in flavor without using all of that cream and fat. So this is definitely a soup that you can make that's warm and hearty and will definitely warm the soul, and it won't be too hard on your waistline too. So if you are watching your calories, definitely a good soup to try. Now we are busting out this baby again. For those of you that are joining for the first time and do not know what this is an immersion blender or a handheld blender. This is perfect if you're doing a soup that requires pureeing of anything. So in this case, we're going to puree the corn, the sweet potatoes, along with all the flavor in the broth. Now, for this one, you got to use the lock. You got to use the lock and the on button. Because sometimes, I'm like, oh, why isn't this working? Because I don't have the lock feature on. And you use it there. So, not going to plug it in just yet because I think we're about ready to go here. I'm just going to go ahead, check this baby out. Oh, look at this.
So, Miss Meg, I have a question for you.
Yes.
With all the seasonings that you have on the table that you explained,
yes,
what were the factors that you used to put those in particular in?
That is actually the basic ingredients for Cajun seasoning. So you can buy the pre-mixed already in, like I know this is McCormick's or McCormick's Gourmet. I know they have a pre-packaged Cajun seasoning, but doing a little research, all of these spices right here, basically what make up Cajun seasoning. So if you have any of these spices laying around, especially if you have some of them fresh, oh my God, you just make it yourself, mix it together, and I'm sure it will be absolutely delicious. So I think we are at a good spot here to get this immersion blender going. All right. So, what do you say, Mr. Mark? Let's go ahead and try this out.
Fire it up.
All right. I hope this does work. Yeah, let's see here. There we go. Press that first. Make sure you get it in there. You don't want to splash yourself. You do want to be careful. You don't want to splash. And anytime you're blending, you always want to do it at a very, very low temperature. See, look at this consistency here. Oh, this is looking good. This is looking good. Now, you can leave some chunks of sweet potato in this soup if you like, because the recipe did say to leave half of the potato mixture blended, but I like mine as a puree. You look at this. No cream or butter in this soup. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. Definitely one for the books. And that did not take long at all.
Well, as Hondo from LAPD SWAT would say, that is fluid like smooth.
Look at this. Nice and silky. Now, a couple of chunks in there, but that's okay.
We won't hold it against them.
So, next ingredient, if I can get it open, fish sauce. This one, there we go. About a tablespoon. Again, some of us like that flavor, so you can add a little bit extra if you like. That'll give it that seasoned umami flavor. I love saying the word umami because it's definitely a friend of your palates. Now, you can garnish this if you have any scallops or shrimp or bacon is a good garnish.
Did I hear shrimp?
You heard shrimp. All right. So, as we like to say, we got a QCQA, which means we got to taste this. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a little taste. The sweetness and the heat from the cayenne play off so well with each other. Very well balanced. Seasoned beautifully. And it'll definitely be a soup to have on it'll warm you up on a nice rainy day. All right. So, let this go for a little bit. I want to thank you for joining me today on our special November cooking demo. Be on the lookout for the next episode coming up in December. And I do want to remind everybody that, as you know, New York State is in the orange zone of the microcluster COVID-19. So unfortunately, the building is closed, but we're still doing phone checkouts, phone renewals, phone requests. So give us a call. I'll definitely recommend some good books, and I'll definitely still be doing these wonderful demos for you. So thank you so much for joining in and all of your support for us over here at the Lackawanna Library. On behalf of our director, Jennifer Johnson, myself, and the staff of the Lackawanna Library, I just want to thank you all for all your love and support. And we couldn't have been here without you. So thank you so much for joining in, and you guys have a great night. See you next time.